Jeff Fuller with you again, and Jay Fuller Interviews. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and the YouTube channel. But joining us now is Miss Mertzie Klein. Mertzie, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks again for making the time and joining us again. On Instagram, you are Mertzie Klein. You put on a lot of videos. How much fun is it making those videos, and how many retakes are necessary?
It's pretty fun, making videos and being able to share the content. We do have to take a couple retakes. It's not just a one and done type of thing, but there's not too many involved.
So last time you were on with the Instagram interviews, it was fun, but I wanted to get you on in this forum on just talking about your time at West Catholic High School, where you were an All-American nominee. You were, well, let me back up. Did you make the varsity team as a freshman?
Yes. Yep.
How prepared were you for tryouts? Did you know going in your freshman year that you would make varsity?
I had a pretty good idea of it just because I played basketball all summer with the varsity team. So I had a feeling that I was going to be okay.
And so I assume, maybe I'm wrong, but it was your freshman year that you did not make all conference and we're not all Michigan?
I did not.
And so 3 times all conference, all Michigan. How much were you driven each year to get better versus just relying, hey, I'm all conference this year, I'm going to make it next year?
Yeah, so every year try to set a goal. So all conference, then it was, all state, and then, dream team. So every year try to make it, a new goal to try to hit.
And now being the All-American nominee, how did you find out about that? What was that process like? How excited were you about that nomination?
Yeah, it was really exciting to get the call and say that you were a nominee, because it's out of all the girls in the country, not just the state of Michigan. So that was really exciting and a pretty nice achievement to end high school with.
Now, I was told never to ask a girl her age or her weight, but you did share last time your height. So you are not a 6'10" center. How tall are you?
Maybe 5'2" with shoes.
What is it about the guard position that you enjoy so much?
Probably that you're like the floor general, so you run everything. Everything is based off of you. You're pretty much like the coach on the floor. So
now you are the youngest. You have 3 older brothers. How much did they prepare you for not just the point guard position, but to really be prepared to compete at the varsity level as a freshman?
Yeah, so they picked on me a lot growing up. So it was always very competitive in the house. And being the youngest out of 3, I always wanted to win, or at least try to compete with them, because they're quite a bit years older than me. There's a good separation between all 3 of us. So they really prepared me definitely for competitiveness and being able to compete with kids that are older. And
now, Mertzie, you talk about being the coach on the floor at that guard position. Did you have a dad that was a coach? Who was the biggest influencer on you for that guard position?
Probably my brother Kyle. He really liked basketball, and he was really good at basketball. A lot of my brothers were. It's just they went more of a baseball route. And my dad was more of a baseball coach. He wasn't a basketball coach at all. But probably my brother Kyle, he was a guard too, and so he would help me a lot. And then, being 5'2", you don't have very many options. So
I guess. Have you been watching The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls documentary?
Yep.
I was really struck. You hear the stories and the legend, but how Jordan was so driven, and we've heard that about Kobe Bryant, the Mamba mentality. For you, as now someone that prepares kids, develops players, what's that balance between pushing them so hard versus breaking them where they do not return?
Yeah. So like being a trainer, this is the part that I like about being a trainer, and not so much a coach. There's always can be problems when you're a coach when it comes to role playing and playing time and all that stuff. And sometimes you just don't like your coach because of their philosophies and systems and how they just run things. But as a trainer, people come to you to achieve your goals. It's my job to make them better. And so I've always had good relationships with my clients when it comes to that, because I'm the one that honors their goal. Their goal is to play at Michigan. All right, we'll do everything we can to get you to play
Yeah.
at Michigan. If it's Duke, North Carolina, so I'm the one they come to. So no matter what their goal is, I'm going to do my best to put them in the best situation, be successful. So just being able to push them through the workouts and let them know, what it takes to just in general play college basketball. Um, so I'm more of a positive insight for them, and that's the part that I really enjoy about it.
So, following West Catholic High School in Grand Rapids, Michigan, you went on to play at University of Findlay, the Oilers. First of all, what is an Oiler?
Like an Oiler rig, you know. So there's a ton of them in Findlay. So that that's the mascot.
What was your process from high school getting ready to play collegiate basketball? Did you have a trainer at that time? And what was the biggest change for you that transition from the high school game to the college level?
Yeah, so actually, who my boss is now for I'm Possible, he was also my trainer when I was younger. So that's how I kind of got into I'm Possible and first met Micah. Is I would go to all of his local camps here because he's from Grand Rapids as well, and then so he trained me growing up. So I would do all of his stuff. Been doing it since seventh grade, um, and so being able to make that adjustment, it wasn't too hard. He prepared me really well for college. But your main thing is when you're going from high school to college, it's the change of pace. Girls are bigger, stronger, and they're just faster, and so you get up and down the floor much quicker. And so just being able to handle that change of pace.
Now, did you have dreams of playing in the WNBA, whether you were really young or even at the college level?
Yeah, yep. So when I was younger, I always thought I'd be in the WNBA, and then when the height thing kicks in, it came a little bit more of reality. But like in fifth, sixth grade, I didn't know I'd still be 5'2". I think I was 5'2" still in sixth grade, so I thought it would be a decent height. But
Yeah.
then we didn't grow up to that. But yeah, I just always wanted to play overseas as well and make it as far as I could.
Now, I've been fortunate to coach, assistant coach for some of the younger girls here in our local community. And sometimes with the younger athletes, freshmen, sophomores, they want to get stronger. And I'm not sure how much to introduce as far as weight training. I think the body weight training is probably the best way. But what say you, especially some of these guards that are a little bit smaller, how important is it to get stronger? And what's the smartest way for them to increase that power and that mobility?
Yeah, I mean, lifting goes a long way. So starting them off like in middle school, maybe freshman year, you start with that body weight stuff, but at some point you have to incorporate all those Olympic lifts. The main thing when it comes to that is you need to know the proper technique, because usually if you're not doing the proper technique, that's usually where injuries come into play, either later down the road or um, pretty recent as you start, depending on, your strength already in general. But being able to have someone that teaches you the proper technique is huge.
Now, my brother-in-law went to Cornerstone University. Your boss, Michael Lancaster, with Impossible Training, he lit them up, and he was quite the player back in the day, and now he does all this player development training. You can find it at possibletraining.com. where you're there as well. And I just wanted to bring up one final picture because everybody's like, oh, who do you train? Who do you train? Well, this is just a picture of Kyrie. And when he was with the Cavs, Micah got to work out with him. How different is it working with a top tier professional versus a high school kid that shows so much promise?
Honestly, it's really no different. We approach it the same way, the way we approach middle school kids, even our young kids in kids class. We train them the same way we would train an NBA player. And you'd be so surprised at how bad NBA players are at training. Everyone thinks because they're in the NBA that they're really, really good and everything comes naturally to them, but it's actually not the case. I mean, I have some high school girls that are probably more skilled and would do better at the training than some of the NBA players would. So it's really no different when it comes to the training side. It's just people think it's more cool because the person's in the NBA. So.
Hey, if you could speak to that a little bit more, just the mental aspect of the game or the work ethic, because I do agree that sometimes phenomenal athletes get away with things because, well, they're phenomenal athletes. But sometimes motivating younger students can be difficult, or honestly, college kids that feel like they know everything is difficult. How do you motivate and bring in that mental aspect of the game?
Yeah, so especially at first, like being a girl in a male industry, I usually start off with just being able to demonstrate in front of them and get them to mess up. If I'm doing things that they don't know how to do, then right away I'm going to grab their attention, especially if they already think they're that good. Being able to put them on the spot and show their weaknesses in front of everybody really is going to grab their attention, and it's gonna kind of change that mentality a little bit. So a little bit of humility can be good, and humbling for the player as well. And so I've had a lot of different players come in who are really great athletes and they're great basketball players, and they think they're good at everything, and until they start doing our stuff, and then you can start seeing the entire attitude change out of them. So there's two different ways that the player can approach it: is they'll like it and they'll embrace their weaknesses, or because they're used to being good at everything, they shy away from it, because for once they were shown that
Yeah.
there's still a lot to be improved. So there's two different ways that the player can look at it, but I think just our training alone really helps with the mentality side and really building confidence.
Now, specifically during this pandemic, this quarantine, how have you been able to stay one step in front of the athletes, your clients that you train? How do you keep yourself motivated just so that you do bring in that credibility with humility when you're training these different players?
Yeah, so it's pretty neat with what Micah designed. He designed a app that has all of our entire curriculum on it. So I'm pretty much doing the same thing that even if I was there with you in person, except I just assign the workouts through our app, and I'll send them videos on how to do it. But it's still the same thing. It's probably harder for them when I'm not there to be able to correct them on the spot. But during virtual training or my Zoom sessions with them, it's still the same goal to try to embrace their weaknesses, and as soon as they cover something, we're on to the next thing.
Something that I think is so innovative, and I should have put a picture up of it, but it's the board. I don't even know what it's called, but just with proper footwork balance. But that the board that Micah designed. Can you talk about the importance of proper footwork, especially for kids, and being on balance?
Yeah, so footwork will change someone's entire game, whether what sport you do, whether it be basketball, football, baseball. So I actually have one kid that's a football player. He doesn't even play basketball, but he comes to me for footwork just so he's a quarterback, just so he can be quicker out of the pocket. Um, So footwork really goes a long way. And so what our mat does, it's designed to set up your width and your balance, to being able to learn, to shift to both sides, which will increase a lot of foot mobility, ankle mobility, really open up your hips, which is going to make you more balanced, and it's going to make you more explosive and being able to learn your body and have body awareness. So all that stuff really goes a long way in our mat. Really helps expose those type of skills.
Well, Mertzie, thanks so much for making the time. Mertzie Klein on Instagram. I'll put some links to YouTube on this interview, get them out to the players that I've been coaching. And just thanks again. Just two final questions. Who is your favorite player to watch in NBA, WNBA? Who's your favorite player to watch?
Probably for the NBA, I really like watching Steph Curry. I'm a big Curry fan. And then probably for the WNBA, I really enjoy watching Skylar Diggins. I've always been a Skylar Diggins fan. So she's probably my favorite right now.
And so just between you and me, no one else is watching. If you were 6'7", who is someone in the NBA that you would love just to beat up on?
Probably Draymond Green.
He does camps too. He went to Michigan State, does camps right there in Grand Rapids, but he does talk a lot.
Yep.
Hey, Mertzie, thank you so much. We wish you all the best, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks for having me.
And again, Mertzie Klein with possibletraining.com. Encourage you to check her out, whether it's on Instagram, YouTube, some great stuff. And especially during this time of quarantine, not knowing what to do, what you can get out to do, just do some of the stuff in your driveway, your parking lot, your basement. Just ask your parents before you start dribbling. All right, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Some more great interviews coming up. Jay Fuller interviews on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.